Especially good night to all our viewers here on Caribbean American News media platform. I was not coming on tonight, but I thought I would have been very, very late. So I do apologize for those of you who, did your schedule otherwise. You're doing other things at this time, but I'm going to be on for those who are here. There's a lot that I missed because I was extremely busy, folks, and I am hearing a lot of stuff. I'm seeing a lot of stuff I have been very busy, my people. And so there's a lot happening throughout the world. There's a lot happening in St Lucia. There's a lot happening in St Kitts and Nevis. There's a lot happening, folks, around the world. And so I said to myself, you know what? Let me come on, because even though I spend, a short time with you, I'll come on tonight and I'll come on tomorrow night again. But, we got to keep at work. We must keep at work. Francis, Martin, but greetings, and welcome to the platform. Everyone, the platform is not 100% set up for tonight, but we're going to be here. I'm going to be entertaining your calls. You need to advise me as to what is happening, in your country. Oh, Miss Wad, Miniva was on? I thought it was a pre-recording that was going on. Was she live? Let me know, folks. Let me know. Somebody said no audio. The audio is up. Please log out and come back in. The audio is okay. All right. Okay. So, all right. So we're back. We're back. A little distracted, but I'm settling in nicely. Share the live, folks. Please share the live as you come in. So, wow. Now, with the CIP situation, I am going to wait for the 10th of June. I believe that is next week, Monday, where we're going to have a very packed program, a tight program, a big program, by the way. On the 10th, a lot is going to be said, both during the day and during the night. A lot of movements will be happening both in the United States, St. Kitts, and the other countries of the region. And I would advise you to watch this space as much as you can. But folks, I was not coming on, but I'm here tonight, so we're going to get to business. The phone lines, I believe they're up and should be functional at this time. But there's something that was brought to my attention, and that is the appearance of goats at the hospital, not at the hospital, in the hospital, because if I say at the hospital, you would think that they were outside eating grass on the lawn, or they were just hanging out by the security shed, keeping the security company over there in Vieux Fort. But the goats were in the hospital, and when I saw it, I laughed. I thought that it was a different country. That's the truth, because I just browsed through it. So I thought it was somewhere else, and, it was an abandoned building and nothing to see here. So I laughed and I said, wow, somebody should be doing curry goat at this time, The goats trespassing on people's property, and so I didn't take it, anyway. But then when I take a second look, I discover, Sister Sylvie, not now I say I gotta call you, Yeah, not now. We're not coming on, Sylvie, and so I just say, what, let me just swing on to talk to you. But let's get back to the goat situation, friends in the country. And by the way, share the live, tag a friend. Folks don't know that we're on. I put out a notice earlier that we would not be on. So sorry for the mixed message. My skin was itching me to get on. I was like, what is this? I just got home. I said, let me just jump on this thing quickly. So I found out that those goats were at the Viewford Hospital, and the hospital that is being housed in the stadium. If I'm correct, somebody needs to correct me. But let's go over to this. Let's go over quickly.
St Jude Hospital, bon Dieu. Me see, I'm in the hospital right now, and I don't know, a whole heap of goats just come inside the ISF more afraid. Is this goats or is this people? They don't go in. They go in the room. Why? They go in the room. You mean to tell me that God put down?
So I saw it without the folks. And let me tell you something. It is not one goat that just walk in and decide, it's just going to look for an adventure. It's just curious, want to know what is happening in the building. The goat walked through with the whole pack because it must have had a leader. The leader walked in with all his other little goats into the hospital, did a walk through the hospital, and then poop in the hospital. No security. Folks, I am lost for words. I know we attempted to blame the government for allowing goats to walk through the hospital. But to me, there's a lot of conclusions that we can come to. And one, it seems that there is absolutely no security at that place. It seems to me that the goats hang around that area, and I am sure other animals, because maybe the grass is not being kept. Maybe it is just a comfortable place for goats. And surprisingly, when I visit the new St Jude Hospital last year, on my visit, there were actually goats at the new hospital, in the new hospital that Mr. Shastney built, to the point that they were dead goats in the area there, in the building itself. I don't know. And let me ask you a question, folks. Who are the owners of these animals? Are they stray goats? And the sad thing is that it is only when a St. Lucian decide to cook one of them that the owners show up on HTS or NBC to claim that it's their goat and they want their money. It is always the case. Nobody owns the animals when they are destroying properties. But as soon as you cook one, the owners come forward. I don't know. These goats, they're not government goats. They're not government goats. They're not Musa goats, unless they are Musa goats. And they went over to visit Musa at the hospital. Who are the owner of these goats? And one thing I discovered in the country is that there's a lot of stray animals all around St. Lucia, even in Castries. Who are the owners? The cows that are on the shock highway destroying properties. Who are the owners? Which government agency is responsible to impound them, remove them from roaming the country? This is a shame, honestly. And if the United Workers' Party government was in power, it would still be a shame that goat can walk in to a hospital. And the lady, I don't know if she's a patient or she's a worker, or I don't know who this lady is. But you can see the lady, she's shocked. And if she was a suspicious person, she would think that is Obia. It is a whole tribe from Haiti that walked in, or Africa walked into the hospital to wash somebody in the hospital. But you are not that suspicious, ain't it? But this is just a shame that a hospital that should be controlled, and a controlled space, if the goats can walk in, then I can walk in and do what I want. If goats can walk so far in to what appears to be a farm, and the goats are so brave that they walk right in and poop, and the ladies, and they're walking in style. Give them room. Who is responsible, friends? Who is responsible for the compound at St. Jude at the stadium? Who? If you can't protect the stadium, how are you going to protect the new hospital? We're going to have a goat problem, a mold problem, a penis problem. What is going on, friends? What sign is this? It must be a sign. I didn't see Noah's Ark anywhere out there. This must be a sign. Goats go to hospital, walk in and walk out. No security guard. Right through the door, into the hospital. I didn't know if they went through the operating room. They must have had access to it. I don't know. Can you imagine your granny on her bed at the hospital, and she look out through the door and she see goats 1 pass, 2 pass, 3 pass, 4 pass, 5 pass? Granny must have been concerned. And I'm sure Granny would ask herself, am I seeing right? I'm sure Granny would rub her eyes and check herself and pinch herself to see if... I'm sure Granny started praying like she'd never prayed before. Because Granny have never seen a pack of goats walking in the hospital. Granny must have thought that she's losing her mind, or she has gone to some paradise somewhere, a goat paradise. I'm sure Granny pull her rosary and start counting beads like she have never counted before. I am sure Granny started confessing, because Granny is seeing goats walking through the hospital. Poor Granny might have gone there for a heart problem or some other problem, and Granny now start thinking that she is seeing things she's losing her head, and maybe the medication is too strong for her high blood pressure. And poor granny can't pull herself together, because the more granny looked through the St. Jude's door, is the more granny sees goat passing by. So I'm sure granny got some sign of relief when she saw the staff running behind those goats. Granny would have said, well, it's okay. I'm fine. It's not me. This is real. This is real goats. And I'm sure granny would have said, for 70 to 80 years I'm alive. I come to St. Jude Hospital. My jime wesa. And for those grannies who are suspicious, they would start thinking, well, that might be the SLP gangs coming to inspect St. Jude's. But they didn't want people to see them, so they come as goats. Well, that's for the suspicious grannies. And for the other grannies, I'm sure they start trying to make calls. Maybe ask the Obia man, what is this? What is the meaning? Some would have called their readers and their soothsayers to ask them, what is the meaning of that? I'm sure one of the grannies would have called to find out. Suppose you dream about goats. What is the meaning? So I'm sure granny would have Googled, if she can, Googled walking goats in a hospital. What is the meaning of it? But if I was Google, I would tell granny it is bad management, an upside down government. The goats are a sign of things to come. I would have told granny to watch her bread. And close your door at night, granny. If there is a door at St. Jude, close your door and put your blanket over your head, because you don't know when the next goat or maybe a cow might walk into St. Jude's. Wood must have gone out by the goats. I'm sure the goats met some dogs down the road and met some other cabwits or moutons. Well, SLP delivered a whole set of donkeys in Viewfoot some years ago. I'm sure these cabwits met some of those same Montserrat donkeys in Viewfoot and tell them, come over, man, it's easy. You can just walk in and poop on the ground if you want. But I'm just saying, because this must be a joke. And I put myself in that position. I am on a hospital bed and I look out, just come out of operation, look out the door and see goat walking up and down. I would think that they are the ones who operated on me. The goats operated on me. I don't know if they hired goats as nurses and doctors. I would know that. But we have come to a place, St. Lucians, where goats patrol the corridors of the hospital. Never under any other administration. We have seen cabwit, not one, not two, not three, a whole bunch of them representing every constituency in the country. Bunch of mutos. Cabwit, mal cabwit, tout caltep cabwit. And by the way, you can't say nothing about the cabwits. Pasa parler about the cabwit like se muna kai jiwo, you can do tout caltep bagay. But Somebody was trying to call in. I hope they can call back. But while we're having a light moment about all the mutos and the cabwit that is walking and roaming our hospitals freely, by the way, I would have preferred to see the muto, the cabwit, than a real ghost because Caribbean American News Media, calling you on the air.
Good night, my brother.
Good night.
Yes, my brother. I want to start off by saying this. Strength is love. I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word or in reality. This is why This is why right temporarily defeats is stronger than the evil that triumphs. That is a little piece from Martin Luther King, my brother.
Aye.
And what I'm trying to say here tonight, my brother, I'll be straight and forward, my brother.
Talk to me.
We have a government that its whole agenda from the protecting the victory to saying that they win all the seats and whatnot. Their main agenda, my brother, is basically to enrich themselves off the back of the St Lucian people, my brother. And time again, we have seen that happening throughout every aspect of our economy, our social fabric, the anarchy that is happening within our ministries, the anarchy that is happening within our justice system, the lies, the mistrust. And I listened to Alan Shaftney today, and I want to start off by saying again that he's right in everything that he said. I don't know if it was today on Timothy Polio, but one of the shows on Timothy Polio where he was saying basically, why now the Philip J. Pierre party when in office are now funneling billions of dollars for third parties and, for example, the NHL, whatever, the National Lottery, whatever. And today we have a situation with our CIP program. And whose face is on the CIP program again? Ernest Hilaire. Ernest Hilaire is a man that has been plagued with corruption allegations leveled at him. And it even went to court in some of them. And which one I believe it was an allegation was Jafari. Here we have a Saudi businessman that from Saudi Arabia that do not know anything about maritime, been given a diplomatic passport for or the immunity when you're ambassador, you get immunity from court charges and whatnot.
Right.
Billions of dollars was funneled for him to run his campaign for the general elections. We have him allegations with the rover situation. Today, his friends, his family, his colleagues are implicated in a racketeering charge in the great United States of America, my brother. I'm telling you this is because those guys have no future. In other words, those guys have never contributed to St. Lucia in a positive way into bringing the country forward. Those guys from the eons have been on a path of destruction and a path of enriching themselves and watching the masses struggle and stay illiterate. Because you say, Philip J. Pierre said he's been around many years in politics, have been gone on many trips in politics, because in the name of politics to many different countries. And this man has marshaled this state. As a prime minister, you have your country, your cabinet doing whatever they want. Those guys spoke about the hospital being a big box in Viewfort.
Right.
Today, the Justice Hall is a bigger box than the hospital and worth much more money than the hospital. My brother, $265 million is being spent on a hospital that only needed chemical and $10 million to get it open. 3 years down the line, nothing has happened, my brother.
Yeah.
They have sold our ports for next to nothing, my brother. And who's sitting down on the boards today? You have the friends, the families, and the foreigners.
Mercy.
Our ports have been nothing, my brother. Not 1, 2. our airport have been downgraded just so money can be funneled to people, different people in pockets. The stadium for cricket, millions of dollars has been funneled. Nobody don't have any accountability. You understand? So my thing is, bro, I don't want to stay too long in the program, is that there is no other option. There is no other way I can say it again. The country is still in a state of emergency because the Prime Minister a few months ago has passed a law that police can be at your house at any given time, at any given hours. Mm-hmm. So in other words, today, if you waste too much water, you are going to be arrested. Today, bread from 25 cents jump up to 40 cents. And there's no accountability for.
Okay, we just have a connection issue there.
Hello?
Yes, you're here with us. We do apologize.
Yes, my brother.
For the interruption.
Doctors have to take money from their pockets to help people at the staff. Listen to this. Let us stop St. Jude's, my brother. That what is happening there. What, like you said, the farmers are putting their animals there to graze because probably the grass is not kept. But my point is, my brother, $265 million to fix the stadium and the hospital. Mm-hmm. Today, no account for none of them.
Right.
Where has that money gone? CIP, my brother, before I go. Philip J.P.'s daughter, at the time, 3 years ago, she was appointed at the CIP office, getting at $6,000 a month.
Whoa.
Today, when they were selling the passport cheaper than what was the price, I want to know if she had benefited from that, if she was a part of that situation, because she has been having parties at the Prime Minister's State House. What a shame for our country to be in such a mess that billions, over $4 billion, $6 billion, whatever they borrowed already in the past 3 years, my brother, and nothing to account for it, my brother. Whether jobs, whether youth economy today, my brother, I'm calling for the entire cabinet for the United Workers' Party to get up, start to lift up the people, start to flare up, start to get the flub of fire burning. Let us start the protest movements, my brother. There's no other option, my brother. This is the age of reality, my brother. Nothing cannot be hidden anymore, my brother. Yeah. This is the age of infinity. When you add all the numbers together from 2, 0, 2, 4, is 8 you're going to get, my brother. It is infinity. There's no games again, my brother. If we do not make a decisive move now, the country will fall on its knees. We have been left behind. Trinidad, everybody's passing us. The countries that was never was in front of us, like St. Vincent, they're passing us, my brother. You understand where I'm coming from? I'm not saying we are competing. Yes. We are competing.
Yes.
And we have weak men as leaders today, my brother. Only self-interested men they have, my brother, to fill their pockets with our land, our resources. By the time they leave office, they're multi-billionaires, my brother. Money funneling all different offshore bank accounts that St. Lucians will never know about. The children getting the best of all treatments on the backs of St. Lucians, while thousands of St. Lucians are dying every day, whether they're born prematurely, or they do not have equipment at the hospitals, or they have been dead on the streets through accidents and through different diseases, AIDS, cancer, all those different things, my brother. This is a catastrophe, my brother. This is a civil war we are facing, my brother. And if those leaders do not stand up and smell the coffee and try to stand for something than to die for nothing, then all will be lost, my brother. I thank you. Have a blessed night.
Yeah, appreciate it, sir. And that was a good call there. That was a beautiful call. But friends, I mean, when you and your loved ones get sick, now you got to go to Goat City. We got to rename that place. It's Goat City, friends. Goat City. My God, Kabwit Town, Kabwit City. But listen to me. Whatever took place there should not have happened. No animal should be around that hospital or in the hospital. It should be a sterilized environment, both inside of that hospital and around the hospital. Period. Now, I see I get another call there, but let's hold the call just for a few minutes. We're going to hold the calls for a few minutes. I'm going to take your call, my friend, but I want to share something with you that is of great concern for me, my fellow St. Lucians. And I want to say to Prosper in Denry, I believe you can do better and you should do better. I heard your supporters, SLP supporters, complaining that their UWPs in Denry with contract UWPs are benefiting more than the SLPs. We heard differently when Mr. Estefan was in power. We heard that the SLP are benefiting more than the United Workers' Party supporters. So I don't understand what is happening in Denry. That people are complaining that human beings, St. Lucians, Denrians, are working and some are not. And those who are working, UWP and SLP are not getting work and blah, 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 blah. What is this? Is this a game? Is this a joke? All people should be working. And when you are selecting people to work in local government, I do not believe, whether you're an SLP or UWP, I believe we should not look at party colors, but we should look at human beings needing to provide for their families. So this idea that, well, UWP are eating more than SLP in Denry, that is nonsense. It's garbage. And you, Mr. Prosper, need to have some leadership. Don't allow these people to pull you all around. They're personal individuals who are qualified in the community. And I just don't want to get involved in a situation that came to my attention there in Denry. You know, I just do not want to stir the pot in Denry. I don't want to cause any ill feelings in Denry. So I will keep my mouth shut for now until I can't keep it shut anymore. You need to lead, Mr. Prosper. Forget about all those goats around you who are making these careless statements. And if you UWPs are making those statements, you need to stop it too. All people need to be working, whether the UWP is in power or the SLP is in power. Some of these people have served their community all their lives, have contributed, whether it's the Red Cross or whether it's the disaster committee or some local cultural group. Those individuals are there. Whether it's a Kudme, they're there. Whether it's to help pull a boat on shore when there's a storm, they're there. They are Denrians. Treat them like Denrians. Treat them like St. Lucians. And stop the nonsense about what you want them to do. Get rid of all the UWPs and bring all the SLPs. So therefore you have a seesaw. When the SLP is in power, the UWP don't eat. When the UWP is in power, the SLP don't eat. And that's the country that you guys are comfortable with? That's what you guys want in Denry? No wonder Prosper is not even showing up in Denry. Maybe he can't stand you all with the nonsense you all are talking. It is time for us to see people as people. If they're qualified for the job, let them work. And by the way, there are some positions in government that we got to shun the very appearance of evil. So in Denry, Prosper is the minister. Prosper need to ensure that people are not seeing his family alone in certain positions, and other people who are qualified, they can't get the job. Friends and Kamawad. He should try to shun the very appearance of evil. And the Prime Minister should do the same. I would not allow my daughter to work, whether she's qualified or not, because I am trying to maintain a certain image out there. So conflicts of interest, the appearance of evil, I would shun it. I would avoid it as much as I can. Brethren, I used to take supplies in the Caribbean for poor families. And my family would have to stand in line just like anybody else, because what I try to do is not to show anyone that I am giving preference of priority to my family. Look, my mother, they will tell you, my mother house need galvanized in Denry. Since the hurricane, nobody went to say, well, let's see if we can help put some galvanized and help to repair the place. Why? Because she's a United Workers' Party supporter, ain't it? Nobody went there. Hurricane disaster monies went into Denry. You think they would just go and bluff her? Just walk up there, look at the building, look at the roof and bluff her? Tell her, yes, we'll give you 10 sheets of galvanized. But them fellas didn't even show up. Not even to show up to look at the roof. Because her son has a big mouth in the United States. And that's how we want our system of government to function. You vendors out there, you are on the television jumping up behind Mr. What you call his name? Mr. Buddy. Richard bluff you all. Nobody touched my vendor. And you all behind, yeah. All of you are being touched. How you feel? What do you think about that? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. And that's how we roll in the country. But let me go on. The Prime Minister did something in an attempt to try to clean up this whole CIP situation. I'm going to read a statement. We'll take our calls just now. I'll give you time. All right, let me just read. Government of St Lucia, 5 hours ago released. I believe, no, not 5 hours ago. I posted, yes, 5 hours ago, actually. Here we go. Statement by the Prime Minister, Honorable Philip J. Pear. St Lucia proposes changes to CIP programs. Brethren, I had to hold my mouth a while ago, you know. I wasn't going to curse. I don't curse. I had to hold my mouth. Because we could have avoided this statement today. From day one, the alarm bells have been sounding about CIP. From day one. And just like Goat City, your government operates like Goat City. Maybe that's why we see the goats walking into St. Jude's. Maybe the goats walk into your cabinet too. I don't know if they're goats walking into the building in Castries. I don't know. Well, if they're walking in View Fort, I'm sure they can walk into any building. I don't know. The alarm bells, St. Lucians, have been going off over and over again about the CIP program. You know what the Prime Minister said to us? His government is the most transparent government when it comes to dealing with CIP. And the Flabo government under Chaste, it was a total disaster. And I'm not going to listen from anything. I'm not going to listen about anything from the United Workers' Party leaders. Because they lose the elections, they are just trying to denigrate people, and they're trying to make St. Lucia look bad, talking to foreigners and telling them bad things about St. Lucia, when it was the foreigners who were warning us about the CIP program. It was the European Union, it was the United States, it was Canada, it was Ralph Gonsalves, it was Alan Chasney, it was these guys who were sounding the alarm over and over again that there is a problem. There is a problem. St. Lucia is the only government who did not see a problem in CIP, based on what Mr. Spitter said to us. Based on what Spitter said to us, he said, nothing to see here, everything is okay. Everything is fine. It is Chasney, Chasney, Chasney. And now, the goats are out the pen, and Spitter wants to bring them back in to the goat pen. And here's what happened, friends. Listen to this. St. Lucia proposes changes to the CIP program June 3rd, 2024. Brethren, I am telling you again, the alarm bells have been sounding over and over again, and it had absolutely nothing to do with Alan Chasney or the United Workers' Party. Those red flags were going up in China. They were going up at the borders, at all US borders, all European borders. Red flags were going up. They were stopping crooked individuals with passports from the Caribbean who have never been to the Caribbean, who don't even understand the culture of the Caribbean. They were stopping these individuals all over the world with our passports. Whether it's St. Kitts passport, Dominica, Grenada, wherever it is, we have a problem. So to turn around and blame our local people in the Caribbean, in St. Lucia, and say they are the problem with CIP. No, the problem with CIP is that the United States Customs and Borders authorities and also their partnering agencies in Europe were flagging Caribbean passports. They were flagging those passports. And the last flagged we saw was the Chinese with the St. Kitts passport who went around doing a whole set of crookedness with a St. Kitts passport. So who is staying in the country? Is it Alan Chasney or those who we give our passports? Who is staying in our country? Who is staying in St. Lucia? Who is staying in Grenada? Who is staying in Dominica? Who is staying in St. Kitts? Who is staying in the region? It is those who refuse to tighten the CIP program. Those, and if Chasney was in power, I would say to him, the buck stops with you. You should be the one tightening the CIP program with your government. I wouldn't be blaming Philip J. Pear in opposition. I gotta be fair to the man. And by the way, Philip J. Pear looks like he don't even know what CIP is. I'm just saying, I have a mouth. But when people are caught with our passports, bad actors, obviously a caring leader would look at the program and try to tighten it as much as he can. I don't want to call the SLP administration a mongoose gang or a zombie government, We don't care what the consequences are. We want the money, the money, the money. We want hotels. We want to do things. We need the money. What about the people? What about families who will at some point need to travel to one of these countries? Think about the burden. Because what, a Chinese have our passport? Why? Because a Russian have our passport? Why? Because some bad actors have our passports that we must allow? I would have scrapped the entire program. I don't like it. Get rid of it completely. Sell something else. You have enough sand to sell. Jack don't want you to bathe on the beach. Go sell the sand. So I said what I said. I don't support it. I don't support selling any passport. I think it's a lazy way to get money. I prefer to see factories, production factories being built in our country. Whether it's in Kitts, St Vincent, Grenada, I prefer to see factories, investors coming in to build factories so that we can produce coconut oil. We can produce all kind of oil. We have enough bush and trees and plants in the country that can produce stuff for us. And even marijuana oil. I said it, yes. Marijuana oil to rub your knees when you have arthritis. But I don't support, based on what I am seeing, I don't support the selling of our passports. So the Prime Minister now, after all the excitement and all the drama, says to us and put out a bold statement. And this is brethren, I don't know how many of you are not hacks. I don't know how many of you are not hacks, whether it's SLP or UWP. I want right-thinking St. Lucians to think about this. All the noise, like a child, you take away the toy and the child throw a tangent and the child jumping and saying a whole lot of craziness. This is what we got. All we were asking the government to do is to tighten the CIP program. Now, the government says to us, after MSR files a lawsuit against some individuals in the CIP program, both in St. Kitts and St. Lucia. And I am trembling with what is to come. Trembling. Trembling. St. Lucia proposes changes to the program June 3rd, 2024. After careful review and extensive discussion with stakeholders and other OECS heads of government with the CIP programs, the government of St. Lucia announces that it has decided to sign the Memorandum of Agreement, MOA, already signed by other OECS CIP countries. The memorandum called for common standards and procedures in the following areas: pricing, information sharing and transparency standards, regulation, security screening and framework, regulation of agents working and promoting of the programs, joint trading. Everything goes mad in the studio as I start shouting. Let me cool down. because I get very upset with leaders who are stubbornly stubborn, goaty stubborn. They're stubborn like the goats at St. Jude's. What a beautiful timing. The goats walked into the hospital under the SLP administration. Well, let me not go there because a lot of people get angry when I say SLP administration. And by the way, there are good people in the SLP. They're bad actors and they're good people, I must say. So all the other countries signed on to the agreement. Prime Minister is the only one holdout. Why? Because we have some agreements that we went into with some actors. We don't know who they are. And so we are waiting for us to satisfy our agreement before we sign on. The man left St. Lucia and went right up to Europe to tell them that. You could have put it on Facebook and they would have read it. But you went up just to ensure that he tells them to their face that he's not signing yet. Please, give us some time. We have to make some money. Give us some time. We have to make some money. Well, all hell broke loose with the MSR lawsuit. And by the way, you guys can say a lot of things about MSR. What MSR did was to force the region, the leaders in the region, to step up. That's the positive outcome of this lawsuit, you know. It put a lot of pressure on leaders, especially the greedy ones, to change course and to do something different. And here we have it, friends. After a whole set of protests online and a lawsuit, we have a news report. And by the way, this is kind of stale because in Grenada we found out that the government was thinking of signing the agreement. We found out in Grenada a week or 2 weeks after, then the government of St. Lucia puts out something just to cover their backs. And the memorandum of understanding was not a bad thing. It wasn't a hard pill to swallow. It dealt with the pricing issue, underpricing. And in St. Lucia, we are hearing that they were indeed underpricing. So it makes all of us suspicious when we hear government leaders telling us that we're not going to sign yet. Because we have, when you go up to Europe to tell them fellas up there that you have agreements that you can't sign on to, them fellas will choops their teeth at you and say, well, we will fix you. You go, don't sign it. No problem, Mr. PM. They will give you wine to drink and they will spread the red carpet for you as a dignitary, a visiting dignitary. Diplomat. They will treat you so good, Mr. P. And when you turn your back to go back to your country, they would say, but wait a minute, why he came up here? Just to tell us that? That's why the man come all the way from St. Lucia up here, spend the people's money, taxpayers' money, to come and tell us that he have some arranged agreement that he went into with clients. And so we can't sign yet. We'll sign, at some point. But we won't sign yet. Not yet. No, man. Yeah. And Mr. Healer said something to the effect that we're a sovereign nation and nobody outside basically can't tell us what to do and blah, 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 blah. We're not going to, whatever you call it, we're not going to stereotype the Russians, they're good people in Russia too, and I mean, we're not going to think, we can't do that. I mean, how you want us to discriminate against the Russians? You remember the stories? Don't pretend that you don't know the stories. But let's read the thing. It had to do with security screening and framework, regulation of agents, marketing, promotion, joint training and capacity building, dispute resolution. Well, there's a big dispute that needs resolution right now. Amendments and termination. Well, St. Kitts ready to terminate a whole set of termination, a whole set of goats. Well, I'm just saying, the goats are in St. Lucia, not St. Kitts. In addition to signing this memorandum, St. Lucia has made further suggestions to strengthen this regional agreement, including proposing legislative changes to address change of name requests. This has been agreed to by the other heads of government. After consultations are completed with regional governments and other partners, the government of St. Lucia will suggest further strengthening of the CIP program. Those would include, yes, all of a sudden, now St. Lucia found out that they needed to tighten things up. I wonder why. Do you know why? Is it the goats that went into to St. Jude? Is it because the goats went in that all of a sudden our government is awakened? Did the goats walk in to cabinet this week? Question to be answered. Did the goats bring an epiphany or awareness to our government that the CIP program, it's in danger? And you need to tighten it now, not tomorrow. Talk big. So we have a number of issues arising. We have a goat issue. 15 goats. I don't know what party they're from. Could the goats have been SLP or UWP? I don't know. But 15 goats. Them goats looked like they were of age. Them were the teenage goats walking around looking to trouble people. Those are old goats, big goats. You cook them goat and they break your teeth. Not even pressure cooker can cook them goats. Them goats are hardened criminals. Walk into the hospital and disrespect the nurses and the authorities in the hospital. And even granny, they disrespect. Well, let's go back. So, something brought an epiphany, if that's a word I can use. I know my teacher, who always corrects me privately, she's listening to my vocabulary. Wise me. But let me go back to the story. So, the guys got a shake-up. I don't know when they got the shake-up, honestly. But they got the shake-up, and then they're proposing the government of St. Lucia. The government of St. Lucia, you know.
I heard this short fella. The sky is falling. I heard this short fella. The sky is falling.
I even hear that the goats invited the cows and the dogs to the celebration. Is that the grand opening of the St. Jude Hospital? Well, maybe could have been a soft opening. I don't know. Anything goes with Cabwit now, you know, and Mouton. Well, like the song says, so much jackass in town that they're bringing more donkey in town. I mean, that was the song when we got a whole shipment of donkeys on the Kenny Anthony in View Fort. Where are those donkeys? Did those donkeys turn into Mouton? I don't know. Wait for the story. Wait, it coming. Watch and see. But let me go back, folks. We're getting distracted with the goat situation at Goat City. Let's go back to Mr. Spitter and his cabals. Let's go back there. So, let's stay focused, friends. I'm very distracted tonight. Behave yourself and follow the program. Thank you, Mr. Producer. So, let's go on. All right? Behave yourself. So, all of a sudden, the Prime Minister, the government of St. Lucia, the cabinet sat, and now them fellas are saying, Mr. Prime Minister, we have to do something quickly. Because if we don't say anything, it's already looking bad. And people already saying St. Lucia is the only country that did not sign on to the deal. Yeah? St. Lucia. But you know the Prime Minister already. He always wait until the sky fall, and then he tells you that the sky fall and that we need to find some way to fix the sky because it fall. Remember when the short guy thing, this one?
I heard this short fella. The sky is falling. I heard this short fella. The sky is falling.
So, the sky ain't falling yet on CIP for him, you know. No, not yet. It got to fall hard in order for him to tell you it fall for Chewy. Wait. Now, the CIP sky, as far as I'm concerned, it's falling. It's almost down. You hear what I'm telling you? It is almost down because if countries of the region, and that's why I have great respect for the St. Kitts and Nevis Prime Minister. I have great respect for that Prime Minister. The Prime Minister at the initial stage said to his people and the world that St. Kitts and Nevis will do everything in its power to ensure that we tighten, that we clean up our CIP program. The Prime Minister of St. Kitts is a good man. He's a good leader. And you would think that he would throw the MSR brother under the bus, the Prime Minister of St. Kitts, under all pressure. And by the way, the lawsuit is against one of his guys, you know, the Prime Minister. And the guy who gave the law, who took them fellas to court, are friendly with the government, basically. He's doing business with the government. The government said that I stand by MSR. Why? That's the question. Why? Is it that this St. Kitts Prime Minister looked at the evidence and did not come to his people with a blank piece of paper and tell them, it's just a paper, it's just a piece of paper, it's just a businessman with a bad experience, businessman going after another businessman. This has nothing to do with the government. The sky is not falling. I don't know why you all say the sky is falling. You're just trying to denigrate and to just say all kind of bad things about the government of Syria. You lose. You guys lose. People who fail to understand that they lose the elections. I was the most readied. I am the little black boy who was most readied in St. Lucia. You're not even a St. Lucian. You're from Martinique. As a matter of fact, you're from... Well, we don't know. It was Canada, Martinique. I don't know. That's a confused thing. But Mr. Spitter now found grace. And Mr. Spitter is speaking now and showing the world that St. Lucia stands by his integrity, and St. Lucia will tighten the knot on CIP, and if we find any bad actors, we are going to wipe them out. Things getting show. It's a goat attack tonight, friends. Mouton attack. So listen, And by the way, folks, don't come for me. I'm just having fun here. But I'm speaking the truth. And I am entitled to speak the truth. All right? You hacks who will go and ask, is he a pastor? Where's his certificate? He didn't go to school. Listen to me. I had a goat call me. A goat. I was speaking to a real goat last week. And we'll get back to CIP. I come in there. Don't worry, we're just taking a commercial break. So NBC had my name all last week on their show, calling me all kind of names. And I heard there was this Bernard guy. I thought he had repented and stopped his nonsense, but it seems like he's getting worse as he gets older. Bernard said, he's not a pastor. He's not a pastor. And Bernard said to the people, I'm a deacon. I'm an ordained. He's an ordained deacon, and he's promoting himself. I'm not sure what the competition is, but I am in no pastoral competition with anyone. Reverend, I don't talk about any pastoral degree. I don't talk about a pastoral title. If you look at me, friends, those things means nothing to me. You understand what I'm saying? It does not. I've been conducting weddings in this country for a very long time. Licensed here in New York. And by the way, I have student loans over $40,000. But they had my name, whether I'm a pastor, where's my certificate? Put your certificate. So I was telling you a story. A friend of mine called me from Brooklyn to tell me that he had a goat from St. Jude next to him, and the goat was talking about me in Brooklyn. Now, maybe the goat did not know that the guy he was talking me with, he is my friend. And the guy who he was talking me with, his wife went to graduation with me in Georgia. So the goat in Brooklyn, he's talking me. And he said, Yadi and Jaim say that he have to put his certificate online for people to see it. He have to put it online. He's not a pastor. And he said to me that they were Googling, trying to find me on Facebook, whether I'm and they tried Google and they tried this one. They got Pastor Ben, but they didn't get me. And so they kept searching and they can't find whether I'm a goat or a sheep. Now, by the way, it's a goat looking for a sheep. But it's all right. And brethren, I told my friend put him on the spot and put the phone on speaker and said, Garfield, look, Garfield, look him. You ask him what you are asking me. Tell him what you're telling me. So I said, hey, what's up? What you want to know? And the guy said, Yadi, put your certificate online, Yadi. And Jaim, yes, somebody calling from Denry and they said they know you and you're not a pastor. And so I asked the goat, I say, so, excuse me, Mr. Goat. Now, tonight is just goat story I'm giving you, not ghost story, you know. It is goat story. So, my friend said, look the man there, talk to the man. You there actually telling me all kind of thing. Look the man there, talk to the man. So you have this face on speaker. So I said to the goat, I said, Mr. Goat, what do you want to know? Well, yeah, he wanted to know. And my friend said, no, you lie. Tell him it's you want to know. It's you what to tell him. And so I said, Mr. Goat, what my certificate have to do with you as a goat? I thought it's grass you guys eat, not certificates. He said, oh, yeah, you're not a pastor, and you steal money. You and Marvin Charles steal the poor people money. I said, excuse me, Mr. Goat, I stole money? Are you aware that the money that you accuse me of stealing, if that's a word, it is my money that I collected and sent to St. Lucia for a medical procedure? The goat didn't say nothing. I say, how can a sheep steal his own money? How can a sheep send money overseas and still is able to steal it in the United States. He said, yeah, you and Marvin steal, y'all steal the poor people money. And the poor goat don't even understand the story. That's why the goats are walking into St. Jude's. They don't know if St. Jude's is a forest or it's a hospital. So the goats are confused, so they walk in. So this goat I'm talking about in Brooklyn, so I said to him, I'll get back to the CIP. I just deal with the goat for a while. It's a goat night, goat night. So I said to the goat, he said, you have to put it, man, you have to put it. So I got so frustrated with the goat, I asked the goat, excuse me, Mr. Goat, do you have a green card in Brooklyn? Mr. Goat would watch me and he would say to me, no. I said to Mr. Goat, well, I think you should go and focus on that certificate, Mr. Goat. And I said to Mr. Goat, by the way, you are very ignorant, Mr. Goat. Maybe you need to go and do some GED at the same time. You can't be a goat all your life. You got to promote yourself from a goat to something else. And then I said to the goat, I can't even have a conversation with you because all I'm hearing is meh, meh, meh. That's all I'm hearing from your mouth. And my friend just said, so you know what I did? I told my friend to put it on video so I can show the goat something. So I showed the goat all my certificate. Guess what the goat do? The goat say, I don't want to see them. The same goat who want me to put it online, now the goat don't want to see it. And that's what the goat does. But anyway, that's a story. And I stick to that story. But let's go back to the real thing. Let's get off from the farm for a while. So Mr. Pear I didn't realize it's so late, so let's just spend 5 more minutes. We'll take some calls, all right? Let's read quickly. So here's how the government is going to strengthen the CIP program, proposed strengthening. Huh? We got to watch this space to see this happen. An annual quota. We didn't have one before. A net worth for applicants. We didn't have one. Anybody could have just walked in and get a passport. Now we're doing all this. Now? Escrow account to be held in St. Lucia or in the individual islands. A requirement that only licensed promoters will be allowed to submit applicants to local authority authorized agents, and those promoters will have to submit a due diligence report on each applicant. Mama, that wasn't happening. Now, this is your government of St. Lucia, Just last week, the sky wasn't falling.
I heard this short fella.
So, Lucians, all of a sudden, these are the findings of the government of St. Lucia. Over the last year, Citizenship by Investment Unit in St. Lucia have initiated all 6 principles agreed with the United States government. Okay, so they're going to try and nice it up so it wouldn't look like they're bending under pressure. So let's listen to them for a moment. February 15, 2023, ban applicants from Russia. Wait a minute. You don't just cry. Mark this date, February 15th, 2023. Ban on applicants from Russia. Now, this is the same government who said to us, we cannot discriminate against the Russians. How can we do that as a responsible government? We can't do that. But they use the word ban. They ban applicants from Russia. And that is on the 15th of February, 2023. September the 4th, 2023, implemented applicant interviews. So there were no applicant interviews before? No? None? Not by immigration, not by our local law enforcement, not by customs, not even the goats in Viewford? Nobody? From September 4th, 2023, vetting of all applicants through local financial intelligence authority. So wait a minute, after 2020, before 2023, there was no vetting through our local financial intelligence authorities in St. Lucia? No? No? None? Okay. From January 2020, sharing of denials with the Joint Regional Communication Center, JRCC. An operational review of the program by the international consultancy firm, which will commence shortly. Hold a minute. An operational review of the program by an international. Hold a minute. Hold. So, I'm a little confused. Wait, hold a minute. So, what's the date? We had dates for everything else that was implemented, of course. But as you pass for January 20th, sharing of denials with joint regional communication centers, then when we get to 5, all we get is an operational review of the program by international consultancy firm, which will commence shortly. What is this? What does this mean? Did it start in 2023, 24? Did it start yesterday? It is something that you're planning to do that when did we come up with this idea? How we did not know it as a nation? When did this happen? That will commence shortly, an operational review of the program by international. Yeah, I'm a bit slow there, but I can get it later on. 6, the St. Lucia CIP unit will seek international support with recovery of revoked passports. Oh, boy. St. Lucia CIP unit will seek international support. Yeah. Additionally, the St. Lucia CIP unit publishes an annual report that is tabled in Parliament, which will include audited financial statements. Additional. What, that wasn't happened before? Is that new? I don't know. I mean, it's not dated. Furthermore, the fee structure for different options are published in the official gazette. The government of St. Lucia remains committed to maintaining and enforcing the integrity of its CIP program with a transparent and accountable process that delivers tangible benefits to all St. Lucians. Thank you.
Mwen pas sa pou maje beti sa. Mwen pas sa pou.
Okay, so let's take 2 calls and then we will leave. All right, so the phone lines are open 929-586-182N, and we're going to dismiss the program. I have some stuff that I need to go and do at this time. All right. So the phone lines are open at this time. Well, ma'am. I don't know. Okay, let me see if this phone line is working. Is our phone lines working? That's why when Pay was telling us trust the science, remember I was trusting nothing because we have a clip that we got to review where the Prime Minister at one of his pre-cabinet briefing attacked the press, telling them that they are a puppet for the United Workers' Party. And in that press conference, there was a young reporter who said to the others, let's move on. The man is insulting them, accusing them. And the little reporter said, let's move on. I have a question. I want to ask my question. You can't make it up, St. Lucians. You can't make it up. We have a call coming in. Let's see how we can put this call on the air. Caller, you're on the air. Caribbean American News Media Platform. It's all yours. It's goat night.
It's curry goat and cow heel soup.
I like to strew my
curry
goat.
Goat and cow heel soup.
I like to brown strew my goat, but those goat at St. Jude, they're too hard. You can't put coloring in them.
Brother Garfield, I don't want to make a joke of this, but all the nurses and a lot of the nurses, hundreds of nurses and doctors have actually left St. Lucia because our healthcare is so poor that the goats may have been going to replace the nurses and the doctors and take care of the patients. Or maybe there was no food at the hospital and one of the goats went missing because they needed to prepare some curry goats for the patients, and the goats realized a goat is missing, so they went looking for their child or their father or their mother or whichever one,
you reckon?
Whatever goat, he or she. Yeah, maybe. I reckon it's either they went to replace the doctors and the nurses to help out, or they went looking for one of their own that went missing because it was slaughtered to feed the patients at St. Jude. And this is not even a joke. St. Lucia has gone into madness stage. I have never seen this. I remember sharing with you sometime when a family member of mine, very close to me, was being hospitalized. And I told you that one of the rooms had flies, so many flies, that there were cows outside grazing, and that place must be tick infested. I remember saying that to you. So now people understand. You understand what I was talking about, right? And I have never seen that where animals are just roaming at large with no one responsible for saying, listen, these animals cannot be roaming all over the place. This is a hospital. Wherever the owner must be an SLP pundit, just like the owner of the cows up in the north, that's killing people on the high road and crossing whenever they feel like, and going to the beach and sunbathing and all the rest of it. I'm just sick of this nonsense. This is too much nonsense in St. Lucia. We just need to get rid of Philip J. Pierre, the SLP. And his SLP administration, all of them, not because all of them are complicit. Now, CIP, Brother Garfield, with everything that's going on with CIP, and today, I heard him come out, I heard the evening news, and I heard him saying that he will be making changes and whatever. He's going to sign the MOA. But this is the same Philip J. Pierre who wasn't budging. He was not budging for how long you've had to do this, and you did nothing And today, the pressure is on now. His guys must be giving him pressure as well because they realize that we are not letting go of this. Because like I said before, and like I'm going to say, and I'm hoping that the Canadian, American, UK, EU governments are listening. We, the St. Lucian people, civilians, are not responsible for all the corruption or alleged corruption that has taken place in the CIP. It is a small bunch of people, starting with Philip J. Pierre and his henchmen. They are the ones who are responsible. Where is, I need to ask, before I continue, before I say this, so I'm asking those governments, please, to give us a little break because it was not us. We did not sign on to this. We did not agree with it. And if you've got to do anything, governments out there, we're asking you as the St. Lucian people to revoke all their diplomatic passports and all the visas you've issued to every one of them involved in the CIP scandal, starting with the Prime Minister, Hilaire, and all the pundits, Thaddeus Antoine, Lorne Theophilus, whoever else is involved. Take all of it. Take all the passports, diplomatic passports. That is what I suggest that happens. And please we're begging you not to put the brunt of your hardship on us, the civilians. We were not the ones who asked for this. Now, I'll just talk about the sales of the ports for 1 minute, not for long, not even a minute, a few seconds. I hope the Lucians realize that agriculture is dead. Agriculture in this country is dead. I am learning that they've put aside $700,000 for farmers.
Yeah, that was
if it's $700,000
Friday.
If it's $700,000, Brother Garfield, that's only 700 farmers receiving $1,000, or 1,000 farmers receiving $700.
Well, they said it was
Am I wrong?
They said it was 200 on something farmers who received a check.
Right. Is it only 200 and something farmers we have in St. Lucia?
Well, I don't think all of them are banana farmers.
They can put $14 million or whatever into Jazz Festival last year because we don't know the exorbitant figure they put in this year. They have not come and said anything to us with their transparency and accountability. They have not. We're still waiting for that figure. But you're going to take a meager $700,000 and give it to our farmers who are the ones who feeding the nation. That is an insult. That is an insult to every farmer and every St. Lucian because we all get fed by our farmers. And we need to stand against this kind of behavior. Money is being wasted in St. Lucia, and this is what they're doing for our farmers. That's not good enough. Let me go to the ports just for a second. That now that I'm saying that we have to realize farming is not our main income earner anymore. No more. Bananas have gone. It's finished for now, at least for now, with no hope in sight of it coming back to what it was before, or even a fraction of that coming back. I want to ask St. Lucians, do you realize what the long lease / sales of our ports, castries, and Port Soufrière for a meager $40,000 or $47,000 thereabout, 2 ports? Do you realize the main income earner for this island is tourism? And when the tourism dollar is taken away as per the $6.50, or like we know now, $12 per head is taken away and given to GPH, and we only receive $1 or $1.50 how many years down the road, $1.50 or starting at $1 per head, do you realize the loss that St. Lucia is going to suffer? Have St. Lucians paid any attention to the great loss that will be suffering? $1 million in a year. Tourists come in on cruise ships a year. At 650, that's $6.5 million. We're losing $5.5 million. That's at 650. At $12, St. Lucians, we are losing $12 million a year. And tourism is our main income earner. How and what are we going to use to replace those funds that we will be losing at the port? Has anybody popped that question to Philip J. Pierre? Has anybody thought about it? Have we St. Lucians completely forgotten that tourism is our main income earner and that the decision of selling/leasing our ports for 30 to 40 years, have we thought about how much money this is going to cost us? At $12 million a year? Let's do the math. $12 million by 30 years. Brother Garfield, you can do the math?
No.
12 threes are 36. Brother Garfield. 30 years for the zero. $360 million.
How much?
US.
Could you repeat that?
Sorry, I should say $3 billion. 30 years, we are losing $12 million every year, Brother Garfield, because the head tax is going up to $12 per head. In 30 years, 3 12s are 36. $3.6 billion we are losing, Garfield.
That's a lot of money.
Let's go 40 years, 4.8. Have we thought about how that money is being replaced? Because St. Lucia needs that money. Anybody given any thought to how we see Pierre working to replace this money? Have we thought about how St. Lucia is going to be operating with $12 million less a year, every single year? Just questions I'm asking, Brother Garfield, and I leave this there for St. Lucians to start thinking of what is going on when Slacksville could have made the investment to do the aesthetics on podcast trees. And that's only, I'm talking about podcast trees alone. I did not touch Port Soufre, by the way. I did not touch Port Soufre as for the income it generates on an annual basis. That is podcast trees alone. St. Lucian, the young man who called earlier and said it is time. I do not want, and I always say no violence, but I think it's time for us to actually go show our strength in numbers. Go show our strength in numbers and go down to podcast trees and even to Port Soufre, and stand up against this deal so this can be reversed. If we don't do it, it's going to be detrimental. We will become another Haiti. We will become a Haiti. And that's all I have to say, Brother Garfield. I'm just saying to everybody, have a good night.
Thank you so much, my honorable friend. Thank you so much. Wow. It's a lot of money, folks. But the deal is already signed, and it is what it is, you know. Country need to do much better. And so, folks, we have come to the end of our broadcast. I hope that you have a beautiful night. I don't want to keep you up. Sleep is very important, friends, especially as you get older. It's very important that you get enough sleep. I find you folks don't sleep a lot. You're always up late at night doing what I don't know. You're not a mouton. Upa voler ballet, or whatever you call it. Nah, go sleep. Close your eyes and sleep. God has been good to you, friends. Go and have a beautiful night rest. It is 10:31 p.m. here in my neck of the woods. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I'm going to review some of the happenings, developments around the world, and then we will touch base with you. We have a hurricane season that we got to look at. We got to do some disaster preparedness programs to help you get yourself ready for what is to come. All right. So right here on this platform, we will bring on the experts so that we can help you prepare for this hurricane season. And also we help you prepare for goat season. Folks, let not your heart be troubled, friends.
This platform may not align with the views of
let not your heart be troubled. Let not your heart be troubled. So have a beautiful night, my friends, and look forward to seeing you. Remember, we have our big program coming up on the 10th. That is with our brother from the MSR network here in the United States. We look forward to that program. I'm getting as much legal advice as possible before this program so that we can not besmirch anyone's character or cast an unnecessary shadow on the government of the country or on the people of the nation or the region. All right? We got to be responsible as bloggers. We got to be responsible as individuals who profess to love the country and look out for the best, outcome. So watch this space, folks. It's going to get rough in the next few days. Trust me, as we unfold more developments in the CIP lawsuit situation there. All right. So let us try to avoid speculations, avoid, saying things that you do not know. Let us just follow this space, and you can't go wrong. You just can't. Anyway, folks, go to bed. Have a beautiful night. Love you all.
A big story. Philip J. Pierre attacked elderly people and a big story. A big story. I must apologize to elderly people. A big story. Philip J. Pierre attacked elderly people and a big story. A big story. I must apologize to elderly people. A big story. Philip J. Pierre attacked elderly people a big story. A big story. I must apologize to elderly people. A big story. Philip J. Pierre attacked elderly people and a big story. A big story. I must apologize to elderly people. A big story. Philip J. Pierre attacked elderly people and a big story. A big story. I must apologize to elderly people. A big story. Philip J. Pierre attacked elderly people and a big story. A big story. I must apologize to elderly people. A big story. Philip J. Pierre attacked elderly people and a big story. A big story. I must apologize to elderly people.
Over the past 5 years, every single decision we have taken has been to fertilize prosperity for today and to sow the seeds of progress for our nation 10 years from now. Every budget we delivered, every investment we attracted, every infrastructural project we approved, and those we re-engineered are meant for our children, our future, our St. Lucia. The United Workers' Party. Let's keep working.
To come to Washington to speak to him. Mr. Speaker, you know he's a fraudster. Mr. Speaker, he's a fraudster. But we will join with fraudsters. We will join with anybody just because the United Workers' Party are not in government in this country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there has not been one word, no one has ever said that St. Lucia's CIP program, in terms of the due diligence, has come into disrepute. Mr. Speaker, the due diligence in our program happens at several stations, even at the level of the bank, with the know your customer and your source of fund situation, Mr. Speaker. But Mr. Speaker, the opposition puts all kind of things together, things I've never heard about, things, nefarious characters. Some guy called and said I must come to Washington for him to show me what he has. Now, Mr. Speaker, let me tell you a story about this guy. The guy that they are talking about is a guy who was sued by the former Prime Minister of St. Kitts. He was the guy who was sued by the former Prime Minister, and you know who the former Prime Minister of St. Kitts, who his friend is. You know who his friend is. You know who came here to campaign, who came here to address dinners, but they will discard all their friends just because they want to see this country down. They want to burn the house to kill a rat, Mr. Speaker. It's a matter of the truth being what you perceive it to be and what the truth really is, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I start on the CIP program or the CIP issue that happened a few weeks ago. Mr. Speaker, for an opposition to deliberately go out to stop a country from developing its people in terms of housing, in terms of infrastructure, all because they are not involved or not in government, is almost a call of treason, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I saw my name and name the Minister for the Minister for the CIP being dragged in. We being called to Washington. Mr. Speaker, do you know the person that they said wants me to come to Washington to speak to him? Mr. Speaker, you know he's a fraudster. Mr. Speaker, he's a fraudster. But we will join with